Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is March 1st, the first day of a new month. So, as I am starting to become accustomed to doing, I like to talk about the month we just had and look forward to the month in front of us for one video. Call it a state of the channel address. And February, let's start with looking back at February because February was a month where things absolutely slow down if you're an NFL fan. It doesn't stop, but it definitely slows down. It is maybe the second slowest month in the NFL calendar. Some people would argue it is the slowest month. You've got the Super Bowl, and then you've got the very start of the offseason, but there's no free agency yet. There's no franchise tagging until the last couple of week of the month. So after the Super Bowl, you're kind of just waiting for stuff to happen most of the time. You're not actually looking at stuff that does happen because nothing is happening. So I knew that February for Seahawks Brendan Nelson was going to be a little bit of a different animal than it usually is. However, I think that considering that, when you consider that fact that February is a month where there's not a heck of a lot going on in the NFL, we actually did really, really well. And there were some awesome highlights. We made some very interesting videos that a lot of people really liked and found informative and enjoyed. And overall, I think that February was a roaring success of a month for Seahawks Brendan Nelson. Now, the big highlight of the month was getting to 12,000 subscribers and then doing the celebratory fundraiser stream. Where, look, before the month started, I looked at things and I said, okay, there's not going to be a lot going on. I'm going to basically start my free agent preview. I'm going to talk about interesting free agents for a few weeks here. And then whatever the Seahawks do or whatever the Seahawks talk about, I'll talk about that. The Seahawks actually did do a few things which was not entirely expected, but regardless, those were my plans. And I was like, okay, given how slow this month is probably going to be, I said, let's just try to get to 12,000. We needed like 140, 150 subs to get there. We crushed it. We broke that number by about 50. We ended up with almost 200 new subs in the month of February, which that was awesome. And it got us to our goal, so we celebrated. And that celebration was probably the highlight of the month. We did a fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospital. The fundraiser ran for about 4 hours and it raised over $1,100, which, I mean, it crushed my expectations. I would have been perfectly happy if it ended up being like 400 or 500, but no. People showed up, people supported heavily, and it's probably one of the best streams that I've ever done because of that, right? And it's not like I had monster attendance. No, the stream peaked at like about 100 viewers, but people showed up and made a concerted effort to make sure that the fundraiser was a success, and it was. So that was awesome. So thank you to everybody who made February successful on Seahawks Brendan Nelson. The channel was able to do quite well despite the lack of NFL related activity. Of course, the Seahawks helped by doing things like re-signing a few players, which I wasn't really expecting, but regardless, February went well. Now, as for the rest of my stuff, just to briefly talk about Twitch here real quick, because you guys know I like to kind of wrap my other internet stuff in with the kind of state of the channel address of the YouTube channel, because it's all connected. And I'm still not using Twitter that much. I don't really know how to utilize Twitter that effectively yet. Still kind of trying to figure that out. But Twitch, we had a lot of fun as well. Played mostly, the big playthrough of the month was a Hogwarts Legacy, which 40-hour playthrough approximately. I played through the whole game in about 3 weeks, and it was really good. I was happy with that. That was the main playthrough. We also did a little bit of Fire Emblem, a little bit of Power Wash. We played through Dead Space 2 the last couple of days of the month. Um, Admittedly, the channel growth, the channel progress was a little bit slowed, which I admittedly, that first stream of Hogwarts Legacy, we were getting like 20, 25 viewers. I picked up 10 new follows on that day alone in that one stream, actually. That first stream of Hogwarts Legacy, I picked up like 10 follows. And after that, it really slowed down. So Hogwarts Legacy did not make my Twitch channel blow up like it could have. I think part of the issue was that everyone was playing it. So even though it was the hot new game and I was very much obligated to stream it if I'm trying to stream new stuff, I think the fact that everyone was playing it and a lot of people were probably playing it and not wanting to watch people stream it because they don't want to be spoiled, that may have ended up playing a bigger factor than I thought. But it was a good month on Twitch overall. I had a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see where the channel goes going into March. Okay, so speaking of March, YouTube. This first week, we're going to have the NFL Scouting Combine, and as the days go by, I'll actually have stuff to dissect about the NFL Scouting Combine. As of right now, there's really not much to talk about, but as the days go on, we'll be able to talk about who performed well, who didn't perform well, and how it changes the draft. And then we're also eventually going to have some pro days. I know a lot of people are going to be very interested in that. A lot of the guys who didn't get to perform at the Combine because of injury, like Tyree Wilson, may end up doing their pro days because of that. But the main draw of the month of March, which we are now in, today being the 1st of March, free agency. Mid-March, free agency opens. We have open tampering, and a couple days after that, we have a free agency wave 1, which basically takes place over the course of 3 days from Wednesday to Friday. And once again, after doing it last year and finding that it worked really well, I'm going to be streaming as much of it as I can. So, open tampering, I believe, starts on Monday, March the 12th, or excuse me, March the 13th. So, I'm going to be getting up early that day, and I'm going to be streaming, and we're basically going to try to stream from early to late. I don't know exactly how early, I don't know exactly how late, but the goal is to stream as much of free agency as possible. And we're going to be doing that whole first week. Open tampering and free agency. So we'll have a pretty good idea of how the league is being shaken up over that 5-day period. So that is the big event in March. It's going to be a lot of streaming and a lot of discussion of what the Seahawks do and what the whole league does. So buckle up for that. That is definitely the main attraction. And then after free agency wave 1, we start to move into the draft. And I will start officially making my videos, taking a look at some of my top draft prospects. Actually, not even top prospects. I'll be looking at all the prospects at any position the Seahawks should have interest in based off what they currently need. And maybe even a few that they don't necessarily need but are worth talking about anyway. So, second half of the month, if you want to see my draft content, it opens up right after free agency opens. Basically, the Saturday after free agency opens up. So, buckle up for that. And that will basically get us to the end of the month, at which point, well, there's going to be more draft stuff. I know you guys love the draft stuff. I know it seems way more interesting than free agency, but I'm a fan of letting free agency go through first. Now, Twitch, real quick, on March, just to quickly plug what I'm doing on Twitch in the month of March, there's only going to be one big new release in the month of March for me, which is Resident Evil 4 Remake, and that does not hit until the 24th. So the first 3.5 weeks of March are going to be relatively devoid of anything brand new, any new hot games that everybody in the universe is streaming and that I need to get in on. So I need to finish Fire Emblem because that's gone on a little longer than I expected, and get to Horizon Forbidden West because that was the game I was planning to play in March, and hopefully I'll still be able to get to Demon Souls after that. So those are going to be like my console priorities basically. Finish Fire Emblem, move to Horizon, hopefully move to Demon Souls. Um, I did finish Hogwarts Legacy a lot earlier than I expected, so I expect to be messing around a little bit on PC. I did Dead Space 2 over the last couple days. I'm probably going to move to other random stuff. I might try Atomic Heart because people have very mixed thoughts on that game, but it seems very interesting to me, so I'm going to take a look at Atomic Heart. Definitely look out for me to play some random indie games that are just sitting on my PC. And as for anything beyond that, I know I'm going to be doing Dead Space 3 over the next couple of days because that's a co-op game and I can co-op that game with my friend. So if you want to see me co-op Dead Space 3 with Snacks, next couple of days are probably going to be the days where I do it. Probably going into next week a little bit as well. Going to do a little bit of Power Wash. Unfortunately, we've kind of had to abandon Lego Star Wars because the game just wasn't behaving well. We've still got to do It Takes Two, although that's probably only going to take a handful of streams. But that should basically get us through the end of the month. So that's what's going on Twitch for me. And that's really all there is to say. That's a pretty clean state of the channel going out of February and into March. Thank you to everybody who helps make it successful. Thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for watching the streams. And things are going to pick up. Things are definitely going to pick up in March. It's hard to not pick up after what happens in February pretty much every year. If your team is not in the Super Bowl, then February tends to be a little bit dull. March probably won't be dull. All right. See you guys later today. Go Hawks. Probably have another video later on. Hope to see y'all there. And thank you for the February. Looking forward to March.